Just Be is a nonprofit organization dedicated to the millions of families that have loved ones with autism spectrum disorder or neurodiversity. But Rio's law is an identifier license plate. South Carolina was the first state in the nation to have an identifier license plate. It is not a charity plate. It's voluntary if you want to get the plate. But what it does is it has the Just Be logo on it. In South Carolina, it says Autistic/Neurodivergent. And it alerts our first responders. If you're ever pulled over on the side of the road, immediately they know someone in the vehicle is on the spectrum to turn off sirens and lights if safe and approach calmly so our first responders know what they're walking into, mainly law enforcement, because someone like Rio is going to go fast. It's fight or flight. And his pupils are dilated, so it could appear like drug-induced delirium. He's going to run, so they might think criminal. And we've seen it on the news so many times. Our first responders have a second. And if they make the wrong call, which we've seen on the news many times, I mean, they lose their job.
You could have tragedies.
They have to live with that trauma. And here come the lawsuits. Why? Why in this day and age do we not have an identifier plate like handicap, like veterans? So that's where I came up with the idea. And it's just a no-brainer. And now we just secured, thanks to Connor, Georgia is our second state. We got 48 to go, guys.
All right. Yeah, still solid. Two is a huge win. People have been trying to pitch legislation for years and not moving, they're trying to move mountains and not successful.
Yeah. South Carolina, we passed it. We passed, not only do we have the plate, we have mandatory first responder training for autism and neurodiversity in the state of South Carolina and now in the state of Georgia. South Carolina is upping up the ante a little bit more by getting, if you have the diagnosis, you can get a handicap plaque or two with the autism spectrum diagnosis. So this is big. South Carolina, we did it in 6 months, but Georgia came in and did it in 3 months.
We did it in 3 months. Wow. Have you heard success stories where somebody who had the plate had a positive outcome because of the plate?
Yes, I had a mom just write me.
Okay, what happened?
Thank you to training our first responders in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, that they were pulled over. And because the officers had the training, they knew about the plate, it went very smoothly.
Wow.
That's
validating, right? That the work was worthwhile. So
yeah, we hear about it all the time and we're just going to keep growing. We've got legislation in North Carolina, Texas is starting. We're talking.
You have our support if we can call someone in New York, New Jersey, let us know.
California.
I've always loved New York.
Yeah.
It's always been my favorite one of my favorite cities and states.
Long Island specifically, yeah?
After last night.
After last night,
Right.
Yes. But I am hoping we can win over some of my other favorite states, such as Texas, California. We already did it in my home state of Georgia. Well, I feel like my mom's home state, Massachusetts.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
I feel like that will be the biggest mountain to climb. Not trying to imply anything here. Quick disclaimer.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
You'll make it happen.
We'll make it happen.
I love that.
We're going to make it happen because autism is the fastest growing developmental diagnosis in history. And we love our first responders, but we know how vulnerable we are, especially with nonverbal. Even if you have language, you will shut down in a sensory overload. And with neurodiversity, that comes into PTSD. How would you communicate if you can't speak?
Right.
Or if something happens to me and Rio's in the backseat of the car. So we really lean into just be safe. We want the safety component. And it's kind of the elephant in the room that no one really talks about. And we know that our children, our loved ones, we're on the road.
Yeah.
And we want to just make sure that this plate is going to save lives.
Yeah, at least someone is sensitive to the reality, right? Versus challenging it and potentially making it worse. So I think that's incredible. And Lise, you've been such a tiger mom, if I'm allowed to say. You have one of the best advocates next to you, which is not to be taken for granted. Not everyone has that. So you are very lucky. And I think you present every time, obviously I don't get to see you all the time, but from what I have seen, as so supportive and so calm and so collected, which I could tell you as a psychiatrist is not consistent with a mother navigating a child who constantly has challenges, right? And you've been doing amazing, right? You're like taking over the world. You probably don't even need any help. But I'm just saying, I'm curious if you can give me a little bit of an idea behind the scenes of, you present so like calm, cool, and collected that I have to know behind the scenes some of like what are you really feeling? Because I can tell you, even as someone who has a child that has challenges and I navigate that, I might present as smiling all the time, but inside it is not all smiles. I am like sometimes wanting to pull my hair out, but for his sake, I can't present that way. I try to stay as regulated as possible because it's not his fault. That's a balancing act. Yeah. Curious, what is that like for you? And then do you ever feel like losing it? And if you do, how do you handle that?
Absolutely. And I love that it presents that way. But I mean, I'm a human. I have lost it. I was a single mom for 5 years with my 4 kids. That was very stressful, financially, emotionally, physically. And then to add in the diagnosis as an extra layer. So I'm glad that that's the impression. And I have matured and aged. You know, I was in my late 20s when he was diagnosed.
Okay.
So, you know, I've grown up. I'm in my mid 50s now. So, I mean, there's been a lot of me evolving along with Connor and having to learn. So, yes, I give myself grace when I do break down, but it's got to be kind of a quick breakdown because you got to get back on the bike and pedal or the bike falls over.
Right.
And that's always been my mantra. So, but overall, I do try to find just a space in my mind to compartmentalize and get it together because if he is dysregulating, me dysregulating alongside of him, it's not good for anybody. So try to calm down. And it really has worked over the years with Connor. Connor is verbal. He has great communication. We worked at that. It wasn't always this way, but as he's matured, that's gotten better. We can talk things through, but it is patience, and you do have to dig deep sometimes, and sometimes I don't always get it right. So hear that as a parent. That happens.
Yeah.